Thank you very much.
And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all the aspects of various techniques of our development.
Was the Ijaw country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at the government college, Ujeli.
Go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, don't go camp. You don't compensate everybody. But some
in its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be in the style of teaching Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point Akmo dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are meaningful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. You know, after some of these earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary life.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet. Welcome to Fighting Poverty and Engaging Conservation Through Sounds 2010. It is part of the Conference on Sustainable Strategies and Practices for Development 2010 as well.
As I've said, I've been working on this drying thing for the last 8 years. And the way we treat the fish, there's no way it can get spoiled. If it's doing the rains, it's not going to get spoiled. It will eventually dry. Yes. But it's something that should be your preoccupation. It will get dry, it cannot get spoiled.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm coming to you, but the level of sensitization, Dokia is now, are they aware that there's something that is better, that will, cost effective?
Yes, we ran some sensitizations in Dokia. We're not going to eat now, but we're in India, and as I said, the sensitization is a continuous process. What we're trying to ask the mayor to do is that once we build the first prototype and the pool see that it's working effectively, it's going to have a multiplier effect. People are going to imbibe it much faster. But we have sensitized the neighborhood about 600 fishers for now.
Thank you, that's great. Okay, question please, very fast. Let's begin with Tanda.
I might not use the microphone, this technology. In fact, thank you, Doctor. Your presentation looks very good, and these are some of the things we, within the NGOs, we are soliciting for, because we want to take technologies to the farmers. We want to take the technologies to those who badly need them, so that they can use and ensure kind of sustainability as well as improvement of livelihoods. I have a fear. My fear is with respect to how adaptable is this solar drying technology to the farmers, or maybe to the smokers, the fish smokers, because we are looking at the surface area of exposure, or fish exposure for drying, and quantity, and then the amount you have to put in order to build this, the solar technology, the solar drying technology. Is that affordable by the local smoke dryers? Because that is where we come in with sustainable development ideology. Thank you very much.
At ordinary, I have dryers in the office. If you come to, you see them that way. We are using, for different speculations of fish and other things. What I've shown there is, I've just said it's 4 meters. We build them much bigger. But you know that a well-built traditional oven is not cheaper. But those poles and things are expensive. Yes, those poles, it's very expensive metal. For the structure. Even the oven is, if it's not covered like the chocolate oven, if it's not covered with bricks or mud, if you look at the grill and all those things, they're expensive. And as I'm saying that, when you look at the amount of energy, the amount of energy from the time they go and buy the fish, they start preparing the fish, putting in the oven, turning 3 or 4 times within 2 or 3 days. It's very, very energy in terms of human energy, and even the firewood is very energy intensive. So about the size of the oven is not really an issue. You can build an oven that covers a football field. That one is clear. Another thing is that Even the traditional fish ovens are not cheap. Our biggest problem now is that psychological block for the fishers to open up. It's a psychological block. And like they asked me the question that the product is not going to look dark brown or blackish. I say your product, when it looks blackish, is not even good. So that your product should have something like a golden brown color. And you can attain that by partial drying and partial smoking. You have a clean product, which has less contaminated hydrocarbons. I also mentioned that it's a scenario. Those of you in NGOs and CIGs, you know that when we are building prototypes, there's a research component involved. Like I told you about test runs in our work. We need a few gadgets like thermocouples and wind velocity meters and humidity meters to try to be able to get into some kind of quality control. Then later on, when we're doing training, we'll go now into quality assurance. We'll tell the fishermen that if you do it this way, you are most likely not to use expensive machinery. You are most likely to get a product that is safe. So the prototypes, they can be about 3 or 4 times of the final version for barrelization. We all of us know because it's a research component. Yes, that's it. So I mean, if I say 700,000 francs, the extension version may even come down to 200,000 francs. But I'm telling you, if you have an oven, a fish drying oven, I can give you a steady product in 10 hours for 500 kilograms of fish. It will cost more than 200,000. So our biggest point now is just to break up, open them up. And one of the problems we have, especially in the southwest region, is that 70 to 80% of our fishers are foreigners. So when you talk about conservation, you really have to find some way to bring the message down. They just get and get and get. And they always tell you that next year they're going back to Nigeria or for Ghana. They never go, their grandparents came in. But they stay there and get and get and get. So we have to continue working with them. And there's another component that we in research cannot do. But we need Cameroonian authorities to be more friendly to those foreigners. I mean, your relationship with the fisherman is not to go and harass him to give you fish when you don't want to pay for the fish. Just because it's called I have no residence permit. So that is not your approach. If you're not a friend to the fisherman, he will just pretend that you're his friend, but you're not his friend. When you come, he gives you fish because he's afraid that you will not go and say that you have not got papers. But that is not a relationship. So we have been talking to our officer that the more, including even the poor Minister of Livestock and Forestry, the more we develop genuine partnership with these foreigners who are doing the exploitation, the better for us. But when you have that approach, when you are close to them, when you now become like a family, when you are bringing things, they can reason with you. Otherwise, when you just come, it's a blockage. It's a terrible thing. There was one time we went to Bekumu with a francophone friend of mine. He went there. He started talking the pidgin. This Ogonis are very wild from River State where I studied. They're very wild. They just stood there and the guy started talking some terrible pidgin. The master they shouted while I'm beating the child. I just dragged him behind. I said, have you done extension? Do you know what this is the core defense mechanism? So this guy shouted while I'm beating the child because he doesn't want to receive me. So I sent the guy back. I went ahead. I greeted him. He looked clean. So I used an expression they use in Ogoni. Ogoni pure. If you call an Ogoni man pure. If there's nobody around, he's going to cut you. He has a cutlass. It's like something like Bajili. Bajili had the expression. It's insulting. So when I made the expression, the guy said, "What? How do you know that?" I said, "I went to school in Nigeria. I know Bodo City. That's a chief town. And one of their sons, the brother was teaching me animal science. So I called the guy's name. So, we just collected that data. So we need to, all of us, we have a responsibility. Many of us, when we have a small problem with a foreigner, we just treat them sharply. As far as the fishing sector is concerned, we have to be careful. They are producing the much needed animal protein. We have to be very, very friendly to them. So that most of these things we bring to them, they can accept.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I bet you have 3 questions from some 3 nice people.
Okay, next.
Please. The barrister. Yes. Next will be Barrister Cameron. Please, we have time. Don't be fast. Ask the question. This thing is not. Hello. Yeah. Come.
I'm sorry, this time around, I'm not asking a question. I was thinking a contribution. I have followed keenly the presentation. I want to observe as follows: that one, we will all agree that this is an artificial product. And like drugs that are produced to treat people, there are always side effects. I don't know if you have looked at the side effects of the artificial enemy. If not, I'll pray you to go into that.
Okay.
And secondly, going by the theme of this program, sustainability, you make reference of stockfish, and I know very well that it is a relic, but the least nutritive of the fishes you can eat. Because
you can't say that.
No, it's my opinion.
Yeah,
my opinion.
I'm not going to stop it. It's not true.
No, my opinion. I mean, that's my opinion. Well,
yeah, it's not true. Yes,
I'm saying that stockfish, what we eat is the least of what the producer sent to us, because there's a lot of extraction. The most valuable part of it has been removed. And for hidden reasons that have not been disclosed to us, we consume it. Yet we've never known why it comes that way. I'm not challenging you. I'm just saying that
no, it's okay.
This is a very laudable initiative.
Yes.
Let us try to go above that.
We cannot say anything. I can tell you about this your imported fish. This is in Morocco. I have a lot of doubts about it. Because of the temperature profile, the temperatures under which the fish is exposed from Morocco to Cameroon. And that when people put in their freezers, sometimes they turn off their freezers to save current. And I know that from my food chemistry, that is extremely dangerous. Okay. Let's look at the scientific evidence. Traditional smoking of fish, you have temperatures up to sometimes up to 160, 70 degrees centigrade. It's simple. All of us will know what the temperature measurements are. And at about 170 degrees centigrade, that I do this process myself. I do smoking myself to be able to talk. Something I spent 27 years doing, food processing. So at about 170 degrees centigrade, what they call, I'm sorry, but I need to explain myself. I hope it's not too scientific. What they call the geometric center of the fish as a cold spot. If your external temperature is about 170, then your internal temperature, the building of the fish, is about 120, 130. That is traditionally very high. You start losing the quality of proteins from 85, 90 degrees centigrade. So we can see that traditional smoking itself has a lot of question marks. I've not talked about the toxic materials, the hydrocarbons, benzopyrenes. I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about the temperature itself. Because that's what we do when we talk about quality assurance. If you are processing a food at a certain temperature, the scientists can tell you that at this level you have lost some of the proteins. And part of my research work in England, I tried to simulate the temperatures here, and of course I had loss of 15% essential amino acids. And there are other reports, specifically with smoking, that go up to 30% loss of essential proteins. So on a general note, I will tell you that fish smoking is more damaging than fish drying. So I mentioned that the temperature, in fact, we'll just be processing at about 70 degrees centigrade. At that level, you have virtually little or no loss of nutrients. Fine. I am sure many of us here misunderstand. I mean, we underestimate what is happening. I've mentioned mangroves here. I'm sure many of us here misunderstand the importance of mangroves in our lives. I'm sure we just, to many people, it's just a forest. Those coastal forests, the mangroves, one of the strong reasons why we don't have enough fish today in this country is because we have destroyed whatever mangrove. The fishes don't lay eggs in the high seas, they come to the brackish area. That's where they lay eggs. So when you cut the forest cover, the temperature becomes much higher than normal. Of course, salt content increases. There's too much light, and when that light goes there, it encourages the growth of aquatic plant through photosynthesis. Those plants do, they need oxygen. I can give you 10 reasons why the mangroves are very, very important. I don't want to talk about the biodiversity, the plants and animals that live in the mangroves, medicinal plants and things. So when we are cutting mangroves, it's a serious issue. Now we are looking at the options. I've told people that Mukanjo is processed through an equipment they call a freeze dryer. And we know that freeze drying is even safer than conventional drying or solar freeze drying. It's safer in terms of nutrient destruction. That's why I said that before we make a statement, we have to be careful. Maybe it's interesting. I'm going to try to make some analysis of this Mukanjo that comes in. I'm going to run it out of the lab to be able to say. But I know that from the process, there's a freeze dryer that produces Mukanjo. And in principle, the heat damage should be very, very minimal. And then normally, dried fish, we normally choose fish that has a moisture content, the fat content of less than 3% for drying to avoid the oxidation and fat. So what you call Mukanjo is produce some haddock from place, there are 4 species. Haddock, place, this white fish, blue whiting, white fish that they used to produce mackerel. Cod is the main one, but you have hake, you have haddock, you have other white fish, less than 3% fat. And then normally it's freeze drying. And then for these, at less than 80%, 80 degrees centigrade, fish smoking is 160, 170. This is less than 80. So where is the heat damage? For a much shorter time. So those are some of the things. So we as scientists, and we discourage people from making statements unless they are really sure about what will happen. I've explained that. I explained to the fishermen the other day that because I knew that there was going to be a resentment if I don't use that approach. I said, look, we have explained to you how important the mangroves are. We have explained to you how the smoking is affecting your health. Now we're not going to stop you from smoking fish. I'm telling you that use these dryers and see the advantage. Maybe finally we'll get into the question somebody asked me. Maybe finally we'll say, okay, you do partial drying. When you have reduced the moisture content, they will take it to the smoking oven and you have the attributes, the color. Because the dried product will be, it will be like the cod the Mukanjo you have. So maybe it's not a scientific approach, so we are not going to keep anybody out of job. We have told them that they will try the dryer and see if they like it. But I told them that they themselves to see the advantages. We're not asking anybody to stop smoking. That's not something you can stop now. It's just an updated process. Strategizing, protecting environment. We're not stopping anybody, so nobody's losing any job.
Cameroonians suffer a lot of post-harvest losses and also are by their preferences to traditional smoking facilities exposed to a lot of carbon consumption with dry fish and so on, and therefore we needed to understand the ways forward from this system. Are we trying to reduce our dependence on traditional dryers that were also impacting on wood harvesting and aspects like conservation and also the preservation of our forest resources? And the broader picture of this was the reason why Dr. Eyabi Josh Divine, who is a researcher at IRAD Cameroon, had to come in to facilitate our understanding of these broad and very linked areas within the periscope of sustainable development and sustainability in Cameroon and possibly Africa. Thank you. That's been Arrey Ivo for the African Center for Community and Development.
That other cabin, some more cabin, you compensate everybody. But some of
in its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of Tanda G, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point at more dancing.
It's something that needs to be exploited.
Some lives are meaningful.
Some are empty.
Lives that are meaningful with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. After some of these earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary life.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.